In the last few years, we have seen AI making some progress in the 3D work. It still has that stigma, but fortunately most of it is seen as an assistant for boring, repetitive, or resource-intensive tasks, like animated physics, rotoscoping and cleanup, speeding up rendering, and so on. So in this video, I'll try to rank how useful AI is in each field, to give you a better idea. I'm gonna start with the ability to create materials. This one has actually a limited practical potential, and I think it is already used in real productions, so I will put it straight in the S tier. Honestly, this is where AI feels almost like having a cutting-edge advantage right now. Just look at tools like Adobe Substance 3D Sampler, which can take a random photo like a wall or a ground, and automatically break it down into full PBR materials like albedo, roughness, normal, and even height. And it can do this in just a few clicks. On the other hand, with Firefly integrated, you can even generate textures from text prompts and instantly turn them into usable materials. What's happening under the hood is that AI is basically analyzing patterns, lighting, and surface detail, then reconstructing how that material would behave physically in 3D, something that used to take hours manually. Also, tools like Armor Lab build on that by helping you blend, enhance, and iterate materials super fast, while AI also fixes things like tiling issues, upscaling low-res textures, and it generates variations automatically. So instead of spending half a day building one decent material, artists can now generate multiple high-quality options in just minutes, which is why studios, I think, are secretly starting or thinking to lean heavily on this for fast asset creation, especially in games and environments. And even tools like V-Ray are starting to offer such AI material generation toolsets. Then we've got rendering, and right now, where AI is helping the most is with denoising, so I put it in the C rank. So as you already know, the most popular render denoisers are NVIDIA Optics, Intel Open Image Denoise, and built-in denoisers in engines like Arnold and V-Ray. Denoisers are basically AI cleaning up noisy renders, so you don't have to wait for hours for perfect samples. For example, Optics uses a trained neural network to remove noise from partially rendered images, and it will give you a clean result almost instantly. And this alone can cut render times actually massively, sometimes up to 70% faster in real workflows. Arnold and V-Ray do similar things, using machine learning to smooth out noise based on actual render data, like lighting and surface information. But here is the catch. AI isn't actually rendering the image, it is just cleaning up after the fact. And if you rely on it too much, you can lose detail or get some weird artifacts. So yeah, it is super useful for speeding up things and giving quick previews, but the real heavy work, like lighting accuracy, ray tracing, final quality, and so on, this is still handled by traditional rendering engines, not AI. Also, we have seen a couple of 3D software embracing NVIDIA DLSS in recent years. Software like D5 Render, Unreal Engine, and Autodesk VRAD, which uses DLSS to enhance the real-time rendering resolution, in addition to frame rates. In animation, on the other hand, AI has actually been used in many practical ways, especially in the last few years, so I will put it in the A tier. Probably the first thing that comes to mind is tools like Cascador, Autodesk Motion Maker, and Kinetics, which are basically acting like smart assistant, sitting next to the animator. But what do they do exactly? Well, it is handling the heavy lifting while you guide the performance. For example, Cascador uses AI to auto-pose characters and simulate realistic physics. So instead of manually adjusting every point, you move a few points and the AI figures out a natural pose or motion for the rest of the body. Then with something like Motion Maker in Maya, you can literally give high-level instructions, like walk from here to there, and the AI generates the in-between motion automatically, getting you most of the way there in just minutes, instead of hours. So yeah, AI is actually amazing for things like in-betweens, base motion, and even basic physics. And it is clearly being pushed hard by companies like Autodesk to speed up the workflow. But here is the thing, it still doesn't understand acting, like emotion, timing, personality, or style. So while it can give you a solid start in animation, the final polish, and the subtle weight shifts, and what you can describe as the character feeling live moments still pretty much are created by human animators. Still with animation, but this time with video motion capture tools like Roto Video, Deep Motion, Plask, and MetaHuman Animator. These tools are built around the same core idea, using AI to watch a normal video and reconstruct human motion automatically, instead of relying on expensive mocap suits, markers, or multi-camera setups. For example, tools like Roto and Plask let you upload a simple video and instantly extract animation data from it, while Deep Motion even converts video into full 3D animation, ready for software such as Maya. This works because AI models learn patterns from massive datasets and can recognize body movement, predict joints, and rebuild motion in 3D space. The result is something that used to require a lot of work can now be done with just a camera, which is why AI mocap is exploding right now. Even at the highest levels, studios aren't replacing traditional mocap, they are combining both, using AI for previs, blocking, and quick iterations, then refining it with high-end capture. But generally speaking, this video motion capture technology has many problems, so I will put it in the B tier. Now, I would say post-production of VFX work is one of the fields where AI is already being pushed hard for tasks like rotoscoping, tracking, and shot cleanup. Tools like Runaway ML, Adobe After Effects, Roto Brush AI, and the newer AI features in Nuke are basically designed to wipe out most of the tedious parts of the VFX work. As I said, things like rotoscoping, masking, tracking, and cleanup, which used to take hours of frame-by-frame manual labor. But with AI, you can just roughly select a subject once, and the system predicts and follows it across the entire shot, automatically detecting edges and refining details like hair or motion blur. Tools like Runaway even let you remove objects or backgrounds with just a few clicks, or even simple text instructions. So as you can expect, instead of artists spending days isolating a character or cleaning up a plate, or outsourcing the job for the low-cost labor, I think VFX studios will rely on AI to handle most of it instantly, and the artist just fixes the small mistakes. That's why this area is such a perfect fit for AI. It is repetitive, time-consuming, and rule-based, which is exactly where machine learning performs best. It might not be perfect now, but I can easily see it doing this perfectly in a few years, so I will put it in the S rank. Also knowing that studios are going through financial trouble a lot, so this technology will make a lot of sense for them. When it comes to modeling, tools like Mesh AI, Wonder 3D, Hiram 3D, Rodin AI, and Luma AI actually made noticeable progress, because they let you go from a prompt or an image straight to a 3D model in just seconds. But the catch is what you get under the hood. You don't always see something finished or great in many aspects. Actually, far from it, especially at first. The AI is basically predicting shapes from patterns it learned, not actual modeling like a 3D artist. So the result is usually a messy mesh, full of random triangles and even geometry, and no clean edge flow. And this is a big deal because good topology is what makes a model easy to animate, edit, and even render properly. And AI-generated meshes often break those rules, which is why they are harder to rig or refine later. But to be honest, they are making some progress. On top of that, you don't get much control. You can't easily decide where loops go or how details are structured, so you're kind of stuck fixing what AI gives you. That's why in real productions, artists can use these tools more like a starting point or building block, then jump into Blender, Maya, or ZBrush to clean everything up and make it production ready. So yes, useful for speed, but not something you ship as is. That's why I will put it in the B tier. When it comes to rigging, tools like Mixamo and AccuRig are a great example of how automation is helping in this field, but not replacing anything when it comes to rigging anytime soon. Because what they really do is auto-generate a skeleton and skin weights for your character in just a few clicks, instead of you building everything manually from scratch. Mixamo, for example, uses machine learning to figure out where the limbs are and automatically insert a rig in your model, while AccuRig focuses on fast, user-friendly rigging with things like full body and finger rigs generated automatically for export into game engines or different 3D software. So yeah, they massively speed up the setup, especially for humanoid characters, but the limitations are still very clear. And here's the thing, facial rigs are basically out of the question. Creatures are not humanoid characters are basically hit or miss, and you still don't get the level of control you need for high-end production. That's why even newer AI rigging tools aren't replacing rigging. They are just removing the boring setup phase so artists can jump straight into refining and building more complex and production-ready rigs. When it comes to UV mapping, this is honestly one of those areas where AI just isn't that impressive. I mean, compared to what we already had. Because tools like UV Pack Master, Prism UV, and even Blender's Built-in Packer are already insanely optimized, using advanced algorithms in addition to heuristics. For example, UV Pack Master uses a really efficient packing algorithm that can iterate through thousands of possible layouts in just seconds to find a super tight, optimized result, even using GPU acceleration to speed up things. So instead of learning like AI, these tools are just solving the problem mathematically, rotating islands, testing placements, and maximizing space usage way faster and more reliably than a human ever could. That's why AI hasn't really taken off in this area. The problem is already well defined and solved with algorithms, and the results are already near optimal. So in practice, 3D artists just unwrap, hit pack, maybe tweak a few things, and you're done. No need for any AI in this area. As we have seen, AI can be really useful in different areas, not just in animation or modeling or VFX work, because it can be useful for Archviz, since it is less about generating assets and more about speeding up rendering, design iteration, and presentation. You've got tools like Twinmotion, Lumion, D5, and some new AI platforms, like My Architect AI, which are basically designed to take a rough model from a SketchUp, Revit, Blender, etc., and turn it into something that looks photoreal in just seconds. For example, D5 includes AI features like automatic material generation, atmosphere matching, and style transfer, so you can go from a basic scene to a polished render much faster. On top of that, some AI tools can enhance renders, upscale them to higher resolutions, or even generate multiple design variations instantly, which is huge for clients' work who want some quick changes. There are also many AI tools for both 2D sketches and 3D looking renders that can be generated by just giving a quick sketch or by just modeling a rough 3D scene on top of your 3D render to make it look however you want. So I will put Archviz work in the A tier. Last but not least, I'm gonna talk about simulation. In this area, AI still hasn't reached a point where it can replace anything in traditional workflows, so I will put it in the E tier. For the most part, 3D artists still rely on things like the VDB pipeline, used in software such as Houdini. However, AI tools are starting to play a significant role in optimizing these workflows, rather than replacing them. A good example is Zebra AI, which is a tool designed to compress VDB caches while preserving most of their visual fidelity. As we all know, VDB files can become extremely large, often making them impractical for real-time engines, and this is where tools like Zebra AI actually become valuable. By significantly reducing the file size, they can make it possible to import VDBs directly into Unreal Engine, when you can interact with them and tweak them in real time, instead of relying on pre-rendered flipbooks. So while AI isn't replacing simulation pipelines anytime soon, it is clearly making them more flexible by giving you options and becoming better suited for modern real-time workflows, and helping in some smart ways. And there you have it, guys. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, please subscribe to the channel to receive more videos like this. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.